Morning, y'all. My name's Mark. Today, I want to talk about something that I think we often think in our heads, but we never say out loud. Stop buying stuff to make you happy. Is buying things really making you happy? In my opinion, there's three main things that make you happy. All of them start with F's, but we'll get to that. I think there's three main things that make you happy, and I think that we can buy a ton of stuff and never really feel fulfilled, never really feel satisfied, never feel happy, because at the end of the day, it's just stuff. Let's take cars, for example. Now, does a brand new 2024 Chevrolet make you any happier than a 2000 Chevrolet? In my opinion, the point of a car is to get me from point A to point B. If it has air conditioning, that's a big plus. Maybe you say, okay, I want a car that has air conditioning. Okay, but do you need all the extra gadgets and Bluetooth and in-car Wi-Fi and GPS and telling your car when you get out of the right lane? All these things we can always. I mean, you can always be wishing for a new and shinier car. Guess what? There's a new one that comes out every single year. But is the one that you have, is it not working? Is that what's causing you not to be happy? Same with new phones. I see people upgrade their phones all the time. You having a new phone, is that making you that much happier? Is it making you, is it inconvenient? If you have a truck, if you have a phone, if you have a computer, if you have a computer for work, and it can't do what you need it to do for work, it's too slow, it's taking you, 4 hours to do something that should take 30 minutes because your computer takes forever to load, it can't render something properly, then buying something could be good. In my case, I had bought a new phone. I had an iPhone 7. The thing had 32 gigs of storage. Now, as well as making these videos, I also have another YouTube channel that's much larger. That's my actual job. Now, I was emptying the storage every other day because I was using it up so fast because I was making so many videos. Now, it was a terrible workflow. So I ended up buying a new phone because I was spending so much time transferring everything off, and then I would get it onto my computer, but I edit a lot of my videos on my phone, and then I would need a clip from a couple of days ago for the new video, and then it didn't work. So I ended up buying a new phone. But am I planning on upgrading anytime soon? No, I don't need to. It's got plenty of storage. I still empty it once a month, but it does everything a-okay. Same with, I have a truck. I'll probably do a video on here soon. It's got some things I need to fix on. I'll probably do a whole video talking about all the things I'm gonna fix and am fixing. But it's a 2000 Chevy. Now, I don't need anything newer. And even that truck, is it making me any happier than any other car I've had, even older cars I've had? No. I had a 1997 Buick. Is this car's newer? Is it making me happier? No. It gets me from point A to point B. Even with clothes, I see people do this all the time. Oh, I need new clothes. And they'll go out and buy expensive clothes. I'm like, are those clothes making you any happier? And they're like, for a moment, you might say, yeah, they make me happy. And for a moment, they might. But is that lasting happiness? Is that true happiness? Because sure, I can get a new shirt. I can get a new pair of pants. Now, obviously, you get a hole in one of your pair of pants, and you probably need a new pair of pants because you don't need to go around with a giant hole in your pants, showing things off to the world that shouldn't be shown off. But just buying things for the sake of buying things for a fleeting happiness isn't worth it. And this really comes down to the difference between needs and wants. Now, in today's world, and especially if you work somewhere that's not super close to where you live, you might need a car. Or if you, even if somebody would say, well, you could ride the bus. Yes, you can. But sometimes, either if you don't have a bus where you live, or if it would take 4 hours for you to get to work, on the bus as opposed to 20 minutes in your car, then you have to get up 4 hours earlier, and certain things might not be feasible. So you might need a car. Obviously, you need some clothes on your back, but obviously you don't need to be going out and buying $1,000 shirts, $1,000 coats, $1,000, even hundreds of dollars. It is good, and it should be promoted to be frugal, not cheap, but frugal. Like, I went to a store, Deseret Industries. I was in Salt Lake City. It's like a Mormon equivalent of a Goodwill. It's run by the Mormon Church. And I bought 2 suits that were my size. And I got them for $30 a piece. I looked them up at home. They were each over $200 a piece. Now, I needed a suit for several events I was going to. But it's like, and I could have bought, I could have spent, $400 in suits. But $400 wasn't going to make me any happier than, like $35. So the 3 things, in my opinion, and I've thought about this a lot, the 3 things, in my opinion, that make you happy in life, there's 3 F's. And the first one is family. Family, the family will do a lot of things for you. Family will put up a lot. Put up with a lot of your junk, a lot of your problems. Whereas friends don't do that. Now people will say, oh, I've got friends that are like family. And I can understand that, but at the same time, friends are willing to put up with a lot less. Family is pretty amazing. And now some people don't have a good relationship with their family, and I think that's a shame. It's not always your fault. Sometimes it's the fault of the other person, but also I think part of that is today, when kids turn 18, their parents say, "Oh, okay, I'm done. They're on their own." It's like, well, really? Like, the amount that you grow up after 18 is actually a lot. If you're younger than 18, know this: when you're 18, you are not done growing up. You're not at all. I wasn't the same person at 19 as the same person I was at 18. So I think family is one of the most amazing things. Having your grandparents there, having your parents there, you being there, having your kids. I think family is one of the things that makes us most happy. And I think having a family yourself is one of the most fulfilling things that we can do. So the first one is family. The first F is family. The second F is faith. Now, whether you are religious or not, I want you to listen to this. Faith gives you a purpose. It gives you a higher power. When you see a lot of evil in the world, it's hard for you to think humans are very good anymore. The whole thing with being secular, and the whole reason it has worked thus far, is people say, well, I'm a moral person. I have morality. I have my own moral compass. And that works until it doesn't. It doesn't work really at all. When you see truly evil things happen, you wonder, I guess I have a moral compass, right? But I guess how is that other person's moral compass so much different than mine? And I see this is when you have a faith, not only do you have a community of like-minded people around you, you also have a purpose. You have direction. You have a set of rules for life. And often I think I've heard people say this too, that a faith is restrictive. While certain ones can be, at least in Christianity, in my opinion, the rules are what set you free. They aren't rules to restrict you. They are rules to save you from yourself. Even now, you have people that are saying, well, I'm not a Christian, but I follow Christian principles, I follow Christian values because they have good wisdom and they've stood the test of time. Jordan Peterson is one of these people. That's how he's gained his whole thing, is he's like, well, I think we should act as if God exists. And while I think that has its own problems, but when you have a God, when you have a higher being that is above you, when you have rules that can set you free, then you have a purpose for your life, and I think that is one of the things that can make you happy. When you have a purpose, it's easier to be happy. So the first two F's are faith and family, and the last one is food. Now, food, you might be like, what in the world? Food? Well, of course, we have to eat. And I'm not just talking the basic, I'm just not just talking just basic calorie intake. I'm talking good food. And now this might not be necessarily good tasting, but good nutritionally. Food that is not toxic to you. Food that is not poisoning you. Food that is not harming you. I don't know how many more ways I can say that. I have an entire video up in one of these corners. I think it's this one. It's probably not. It's probably that one. I don't know. One of these corners up here talking about why one of the problems with our food, and that's glyphosate. And there's a whole video up there, so go watch that after this video. But having good food that isn't toxic, that isn't harming you, food that is actually nourishing your body and not, harming you at the same time. And I think if you have these three things, faith, family, and food in a house or somewhere to live, you can have a very decent life. There's a train going on, but ignore that. There's a lot of trains here. But if you look at something, now I know this is a fictional TV show, but I think that it was very true to the time. It's a show called The Waltons. Now, the Waltons grew up in the Great Depression in Virginia. Now, they did not have a lot, but they had their family, they had a faith, they had food, they had a roof over their head. Did they have a lot of money? No. Did they have a lot of stuff? No. Could they buy tons of stuff? No. Not at all. But they had their family, they had their faith, and they had good food. And I think if you have those things, that's what can truly make you happy. Not all this stuff, not a new expensive shirt, not a new car, not a new phone, not a new shiny thing that will give you temporary happiness. I think the true happiness comes from having the three F's. And I want to know what you guys think of this down in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? That's all welcome down in the comments. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, check out the video up here. But other than that, I'll see y'all later.